set aside, nobody can deny that the team isn't good.
Oh, no, it's true.
Yeah, it's not as though I'm still sitting there coping as what I maybe was last year. Yeah, I now have, I recognize my club again, is the best way to put it.
Game's not gone. Game's back.
No, exactly. And I think I was watching, obviously, the broadcast yesterday, and we had the IGL Summit come on. I think Carl really hit the nail on the head talking about his team, where obviously he said that the replacement of Stompin in for Uno, and it's not as though we're sitting here trying to discredit Uno and, bad talk him. It's the team need a new direction that they needed to go. Uno as an IGL obviously plays that more traditional style because he was around for so long. That team needed to evolve past that point. And whenever you had an opportunity to get this guy who, speaks for himself and what Stompin's been able to do in his first rookie stage, naturally for that team, it all makes sense now since we've seen it really come together. It's always going to be a chance going for a rookie, especially getting rid of a very, very experienced player in the form of Uno. It was always going to be risky, but it's paid off massively for them. Carl said how it's really freed him up to IGL more. He doesn't have to play that lurk role, that opportunity spotting role, because Loira and Stompin can do that in loads full. So yeah, just that really hit home for me was the way that he kind of talked about his team and how that change has just made everything work.
I think it's also the element of, we've had potential prodigies, we've had potential star players. I'm just going to set up a trap around the teammate. We've had all these options, but they don't always hit the mark. They don't always make their way through super cleanly. They don't always sort of have the best time, especially when it's international. And you have to give a lot of credit for not only what Stompin's been able to achieve, but the fact they've been able to do it in an entirely different environment.
Grenade out.
Credit to them. Now, the first bit of pressure. Over the top, on towards the aforementioned Stompin. As is tradition, we've cast a curse to him already, so we expect him to be the first name off the board in the top left, just because we complimented him. They're up, they're putting pressure underneath. He's in a bit of a lock-step position now. Is Boomsy going to try and hit this hatch and cut his way up? You can obviously do this in a couple of different manners, get your juggle in, but without the ability to burn what's on the other side, well, that's going to change some of the face. They seem to have a good impression that somebody's there, but they can't quite make the connection. It's shotguns at dawn. Nothing's quite hit either side. Are they going to try and move in on the back of this? The fire's stopping them. It forces the player out. They're just going to send it into the fire and hope that they buff the health through it. In fact, swing into the fight itself. But, oh, it's a team kill, and it's a bit of a fire damage. G2 aren't worse for wear as they get one and one more. Loira and Blaz lock it down inside. Even with the death of two, it's 3 for Blaz. Wild amongst the chaos. Almost got some clarity, but goodbye, Doki. The Glaz has 2 more to try and find here. Gets themselves a rotate, a root, and a new option. But at this point, with a minute and no drone to speak of and a cold kit, they're going to have to fight through 2 very, very awkward angles here. And as soon as they swing this, well, Blaz gets the lockdown.
Puzzling from Wild. That is, in my mind, not how you're supposed to attack that. Well, obviously that take, yes, can work, but the lineup they brought, I do not agree with. Okay, and the reason why is as follows. One, you have an Amari. Don't know why I need the Amari if they're not the one he's going to be swinging in with the diffuser. He's never going to get an opportunity to go up the connector hatch. No, just absolutely no point in bringing it. You've brought in a Finka, for example. Don't really see what value the Finka's going to bring apart from the nades, which again, you can filter with other operators. For this take, the way it's supposed to work is you clear the player out of the CEO corner, and then you swing in and go for the blind spot plant. You have the Thatcher, but then also disable any C4s can also be tossed at you. An operator like a Grim is usually a must pick, because the Grim goes in. If anyone tries to sprint across the window, you have constant info, and if someone's going to try and retake, that should also be included. However, the biggest thing that should have deterred Wild immediately was the Tachanka being brought in. Tachanka's the one operator that you cannot counter with any gadgetry. You're not going to get affected by EMPs. You know, Finka isn't going to be able to stim yourself through that damage. You have to then try and attack him from connector and then try and push in towards me. And that take doesn't work if this is a Chanka, more or less. Unless you either, one, have a really good way of killing the Chanka if you know exactly where he is, if he's in a bad spot, which usually will not happen. Then two, you're going to have to try and flood in through connector and try and take the bomb site that way. And they didn't do that. They just full sent in the window, knowing that the Chanka's there, and lo and behold, it didn't work. You know, that's a rookie error in all accounts for me for what WYLDE just done there.
So, from this point onwards, they've got themselves that first step, but WYLDE tried something bold, tried something brash, and not quite. Squidward's the beautiful. They've now got the attention on towards this sort of setup in piano, getting all the Twitch work done. Or at least they hope so, as it gets removed, but picking apart the potential of maybe those Elemines on the swing on the doors. They can get themselves cleanly in with the Blackbeard. If Denari is an option to be removed as well, it seems like that's the route that they're worried about. Hello, obviously sort of rising in prominence, especially for players like Loira, who are fantastic with that gun. Give themselves the route round, the rotate, and more options here. Now, the Blackbeard is going to want to be that point man and point pressure, but he cannot just throw himself in without at least some of this vertical control. Sneak, living up to his namesake, deep underneath in the bowels of the site itself, just getting rid of anything on the other side of the window and going to join the fight above, because it doesn't matter if you've got that shield on your back, if you haven't got that verticality, there's a good chance that they'll make quick work of the approach in on top yellow and out on bottom yellow. Sneak did not sneak well as Blaz gets Evan, and there's just a free pick onto Garen.
Yeah, this is poor siege right now from WYLDE. Don't really know what they're doing. Players walking in the map by themselves. No situational awareness. Doesn't look as though they had any idea where they wanted to push as a team. Just players off doing their own thing. Hey, I mean, Mats has been able to find two, but a lot of damage done to him for that. Now is at the mercy of a potential goo mine taking him out, or just the potential Legion will do enough. And that's a 1v3 that obviously isn't going to be too advantageous for the Twitch. And yeah, there we go, an easy cleanup for G2. I mean, what do you say? It's there's no method behind the way WYLDE are playing right now.
It's always that sort of moment to talk about, right? It's early doors. They're, you know, it's round 2 of potentially a long game. They're a team that is attacking against a very creative defender team, G2. They're also a very strong team. You're not in the odds. So gauging how successful things are, gauging a plan, I think there are elements that are lost in the reads. You could kind of see the skeleton of what they wanted to do. They got rid of the flat potential pressure whilst they could. Then they wanted to move to the top, but the method they did it in was just a bit disconnected for how G2 likes to play. Expect G2 here, waiting for you on the swing point yellow. Expect them to then do this, push up. You have to be aware that G2 move a lot, move actively, and move trying to get kills. And that's felt like WYLDE just sort of paid
10 seconds left
against a more set up team. Against a team like Virtus Pro yesterday,
5 seconds left.
That's how they sort of get to this point. But against G2, who are like, I'm bored, I'm going to try and kill people, you're going to find these problems. Anyway, we keep our rotations around. We head down to the basement demo.
There we go. Into the basement, which sometimes can go really, really well for attackers. You know, fundamentally, if you think about it as a bomb site, you open up the breach, open up the verts, and plant. You know, that's usually like a simple 3-step process. But as we know, defenders have a lot of tricks and tools that they can utilize. Of course, hard breach denial is going to be one of them, but that's very swiftly dealt with by the nade combination. Nobody wanting to go for the bandit trick, and I think he's quite right to go for that as well. You know, Blaz, no need for it. Plenty of util there, and the jump out from the Solus, but nope, not gonna net anything for him. And obviously these roamers are going to be the issue that WYLDE need to move in now and try and clear out, and they do have the Dokumi to help with that.
Well, the Glass is using these canisters quite early. I'm not sure if they're trying to bait for the plant, but as Boomsy does get one and Stompin gets him right back top spiral. It's Stokey traded out by a grenade, but he took 2 kills for the trouble. And he finds it hilarious. Leaves just a Glass that was last seen out the breach and, well, at least Sneak threading the needle and taking the head off of Blaz. But the Glass is in the middle of a fight and they're sending it for the engagement to look at Alamau. Suddenly just Stompin left. But they don't have the kit, Wild, right now. Not sure. There it is. One step ahead, Observer. Thank you. Not sure which we've got, but, well, they no longer have Garen. Oh, but they do have Sneak. Only just there, though.
Well, Wild, fast and furious. In through that breach. I mean, it was a very quick round. You kind of thought that G2, you know, Doki pulls out a double kill, but somehow find the kills back. It just seemed to be that Stompin was so far off site that it just left Alamau on that 1v2, which was not favorable for him at all. So, wouldn't say necessarily that Stompin was too late there in the rotate. It's maybe that Wild were just incredibly faster than him.
It's, you know, it's the sort of elements there that played into it. Obviously, the difference of approach with this fight. Doki
Has been dropped.
just overstayed his welcome a bit. Blaz taking the risk on that engagement. You could see that Stompin was on the rotate background there. It did everything right in that engagement, but at the same time, you know, if it's coming down to flip of the coin engagement, you can't really build behind that. If that is the case, chances are you'll still end up trading rounds. Chances are it's still G2's tertiary. They'll find themselves comfortable. Either way, Wild. What do they love? Getting themselves a foot in. How many more steps can they take, though? Oh, I was just about to comment on that Raura before I got swapped out. Now I'll say no. It's gone. I'll say
Ask me another question.
ask you a question.
Yeah.
What's your perfect Sunday? Oh, about or about Siege?
About the game.
Oh, okay, cool. What's your opinion on Solus?
An operator that was, you know, pretty influential in the meta. You know, was brought nearly every round probably a year ago, and then just got hit with a lot of different nerfs, which then kind of seen her fall out of favor. She couldn't go around in the prep phase and just destroy drones, but I still think she has value. You know, whenever you still have got operators which are frequently brought, such as your Blitz, for example, you can see that, of course, through the scanner. Even, you know, for a nuke, for example, you're going to get value out of this, aren't you? You're going to see that nuke whenever she's using the gadget. So it does give Doki that active information on at least one of those players. And overall, still, you know, a good kit. I mean, the P90 alongside the SMG is obviously a great combination of weapons that you have. So it doesn't mean she's completely useless. It's just not as strong as what it was.
The very active lineup here, anticipating a Firebat. Said they're always going to try and look for it, and Alamau setting up the gadgetry on the chance at a swing. It's narrow threaded angles that aren't going to erupt on anything on the side of pipes, and even on the hatch themselves. Doki is the one looking and anticipating the next engagement, but Sneak the only one who's taken any real damage. Think about the site that we're on, and you think about how Boomsy just got caught without any awareness, trying to cut his way between the pair of them. A bit of a risky role here on the split site. So instead, you're kind of wondering, okay, Wild, what are you cooking? There's a drive down the back passage. They're trying to send themselves on towards server. It's about to be all four bodies hitting just a single one, but with the verticality, they might still have a keen watch. Stompin could have a feast or could be the feast. The Sneak gets the first, a slight change of position to pull themselves the angle on towards the breach wall, towards Secret. You can see Loira positioning above. They're going for the plant. They'll be direct cover. There's one. There's almost two. Swinging around for the next. The Blackbeard is dancing, but it's traded out either side. And Evan, the only dance he can do now is, ooh, at least one, almost two. But 40 seconds, push back. Loira with the C4 and Doki with the long watch. They should be able to confirm this.
Oh dear.
Dear, oh dear, oh dear. Now, Loira, put some more bullets in your gun, maybe. Blackbeard cuts their way through closer and closer, but the timer demo 15 seconds. The smart move here could be Loira to just put some distance either side. A Gumine on one side, the Mozzies ring around the Rosie's demo. It's just a game of cat and mouse, but
wow.
Loira has watched a lot of Tom and Jerry.
He's so good, isn't he? Like, he really is. As much as what Stompin gets the praise, Laura, I said this last stage, he was the player for me for G2. Absolutely insane since he came onto this team. Did you see that, what he did, by the way? He jumped out of the Visa window straight into Secret and applied back pressure. He applied back pressure. He flanked them on a Secret attack, which you can't do. By the way, you can't do that. But he's done it. Jumped out the window, ran into Secret, put pressure onto the guy who was going to be holding Stompin. Stompin did die, but Loira was immediately with the trade. And then you think about the position that Loira's got himself into. Just completely nullifies any chance at a plant going down, and then a perfectly played 1v1.
Do have to give a bit of credit there for Evan. What was, you know, the role of being the planter at one point, the sort of distraction in the front line,
10 seconds to insertion.
netting himself a fair few kills. Just fighting it down to the 1 versus 1 and not being able to push it over the line. It's frustrating for anybody, let alone the person who is that planter role, who is that objective player role. But unfortunately, you knock down a great gunner on the side of G2, and uh-oh, there's another 2. 3-1 though, and G2, the same way they love to sort of stretch that ego, crack their knuckles, and sort of say, oh yeah, we'll play anywhere. They've been able to lock out the server tellers, and they'll rotate their way back round towards console office, which means they could run the rest of this half on sites that they have already won, which I'm pretty sure is a worry for the side of Wild if we start talking about primary and tertiary here. An Archives approach and some attention paid underneath, but it's a pretty standard lineup for what was to be the sort of watch and denial on either of those two plant spots.
Deployed.
Yeah, good all-rounder lineup, I think, for G2. You've got, obviously, the plant denial and also a good amount of traps, which I think helps out whenever you know that a team is constantly going to be playing the shields in one way or another. Obviously, that Blackbeard has just been that must-pick operator for WYLDE a lot of the time, so having the Ela, which is a great counter to the shields, if you, in the current meta, Ela is an absolute nightmare for them. You get stunned by one of the shield, you get stunned by one of the Ela mines, and the shield goes off your body, and it's an easy kill for whoever is on the other side of it. Here comes the util dump. Somehow gets out of that. How Loira is alive. How he's not been picked off. He ran across an open doorway. Blaz has found 2 with the LMG also, by the way.
I mean, there was also the miss on the player that was sort of grenaded out, cut their way across vending there as the follow through, and that's a 2 for Blaz on this site. I think he got 4 last time we were on this site, so 6 of his 7 kills have come defending the top floor as the Janker, which is criminal. But now, a minute left, a full rotate, no idea what the prep that they've done or potential chance that Blackbeard's put in here, but it seems like opening the spiral window means it's going to be a swing and a fight anyway. The sprays through, there's just 2 more. And it leaves Garen alone. The Blackbeard did well to get a couple of bodies last time, but they will not be so lucky this time, Demo.
What I love as well about sometimes, you know, this game is, you think about all the modernized gadgetry and stuff that we have in the game, and then there's a guy with a machine gun out of World War II sitting there putting in a shift, which I just find so funny. Just that LMG ripping through the walls, and oh, just hilarious sometimes. WYLDE, just, I don't want to say it's down to basics, because there was a fairly heavy util lineup, of course, from G2. I think just the swings coming in from G2 and just losing the engagements a lot of the time. I mean, that's certainly what that round felt like was, well, I suppose what the game feels like. It's G2 just have the better gun skill. Like, they're going into a lot of these engagements and just winning them outright. There's a massive amount of times where we've seen that man deficit just rally up in G2's favor. You know, really bar the garage round, the only round that they won. they seem as though that they haven't maintained the man advantage all too well.
5 seconds left.
4-1. G2, they're just putting the pressure on and on and on. Blaz said, yeah, I mean, he got another one at the end of that. So that is, I think, 7 of his 8 kills on just the top floor. The 2 times that they played it.
Respect to the Chanka pick. Respect.
Over the 5 rounds. 7 of his 8 kills were as a Chanka. Which, hey, you know, everybody's got to have a main. But otherwise, the rest of the team is doing what they do. Loira 5-1 has obviously been in that sort of mano a mano clutch situation. At the same time, you know, you've had Garen step up on a round, you've had Evan step up on a round, but it's just a bit too far for Wilds to cover that distance. The C4 is ready to go fishing. No catch.
He's dead yet, which is good for Wild right now. Again, they need to try and take some form of map control, which is really, that's the biggest issue with Consulate. You know, that's the reason why it's defender-sided. It's getting into the map is the hardest thing, because there's no real exterior breach outside of the secret wall and also in towards the basement. If you want to try and get in through the mid floor or the top floor, you know, you need to go in through windows or doorways, which never the easiest of times. However, they have found 2 picks just by, I think, just sitting outside, more or less. Mats has got one from the garage rooftop. Garen, obviously, in this position, found another. So G2 overexposing themselves and are giving away these picks.
I mean, that's it. Suddenly they've started just slipping away a little bit on the dial. There's a C4 that's ripped and ready to hit that castle door as soon as it opens, but Wild don't need to. A minute 10. Okay, maybe they start to need to. There's 2 of them in there, and Stompin's got one. The C4 will get the back of the Blackbeard, a 2 versus 2. And the Keepers are going to give Stompin just a little bit more space to play with. The pistol showdown. Alamo is really trying to make it work, but as Stompin gets another 50 seconds. Both of them quite hurt. Oh! And even Stompin's expression there is sort of shared, I think, by all of us, Demo.
What a shot from Sneak and the pistol. Use the nades, baits him out, makes him swing wide. Comes back to the rotate, pistol him. My oh my. Look, as much as what Wild have not been great on this side, coming away with 2 attacks on Consulate is really good, by the way. Like, this is not bad from Wild. Yes, 4 of the rounds are absolutely dumpstered in, but they still got 2, which is the main thing.
At this point, that's it. You've put it perfectly. 2 rounds. That's the main thing. And regardless of how you get there, you get that reset. You get on your defense on Consulate, and you get a breath. You get time to try and control the pace a little bit from more of a passive angle. G2, you know, they'll always be G2. They'll always be in all chat. They'll always be super confident. And if they get this first round, it's only going to get worse. You have to put, you have to sort of put a bit of damage in. And that could be a way. Will they stick Caveira? I kind of hope they do.
It's a risky one. But you have to say, though, for Wild this round, like, they got those 2 opening picks just by setting hold on angles, knowing that G2 are, well, G2 is the best way to sum them up. Yeah. So you get those opening 2 picks that set you up nicely. They stuck the Cav. I repeat, they have stuck the Cav. Let's hope he does better than P4.
Yeah, so P4, I mean, start the timer. P4 lasted roughly 25 seconds into the round.
Proceeded to do no site setup.
Yeah, so Sneak is doing the same thing. It's a Cav, it makes sense. Sometimes you'll just say, I'm going to hide my op. Like if you're playing Maestro and you have a band Brava or whatever, and but you actually just need to go to the toilet or you want to go get a drink or something. He's lazy. Alt-tab. You know, catch up on the internet.
Or you pretend to be Alt-tab.
Or you pretend to be Alt-tab. But if someone was like, oh, I'm not going to help with setup, and then just sat there like a psychopath, I would have questions. Cav, what are you going to attempt it? What are they going to attempt at multiple doors? You just got a taste of quite a few of them. Setting up as if they wanted to get... Oh, well, there's one of the people at the multiple doors. And there goes Boomsy. Will Sneak suffer the same fate? There's an attempt at pressure from underneath, but at this point, the pressure... Oh, is it about to be an engagement? Stompin knows somebody is close. They had no idea.
Oh, dear. Not a great start from Wild. Just instantly losing 2 players before the round even really got going, and it's... Oh, my. I'm so sad he hasn't went for it, though. Surely you firm that. That's a weak mentality. You should have firmed that, mate. You brought the camp for a reason.
And now they know... Well, Doki's been got as well. Suddenly Mats has pushed up. Okay. Okay.
Reloading!
There's something happening here. I mean, it didn't quite connect. I guess we'll have to see what the what's about later on. Taking a lot of damage, the smoke from it, but a huge potential kill there. You think about what they've removed here. The Deimos is gone. They've lost the Ram as well, so they've lost some of that control over the verticality of what is quite a vertical site. Not sure how much work has been done. We're in a 3 versus 3 on this push. Without what's in the pocket of them as well, can they try and find some fabric to knit a take on towards it? Wild. They've peeled themselves back. It's a minute 10. They can play this fight a little bit more flat. They're concerned about somebody trying to lift their way up, but what are options here for G2, Demo?
In terms of vertical pressure, they can still apply that. They've got the Ash breaching rounds, but then again, you would want to keep those for the Mira, so maybe the Jackal shotgun could be an option for them, which, based on the Stompin and the shotgun out, it does lead into that. Hatch is open, so they can go for the hatch drop, and also 2 smokes. So there is potential here. If they block off the right angles, you maybe could see the hatch drop. Based on where Alamau is with the diffuser, I think the idea is going to be smoke off some of the head holes and then flood in through pillar and go for the plant, hoping that your players upstairs are going to cover you. But those smoke's going to make things really difficult. But Alamau firms it anyway.
Well, there's Loira getting himself another for his tally. A Sneak tries to pull up around the back, gets the drop, but Loira, in the meantime, gets one more. A Caveira against the world. And they know oh! There's at least a finish onto one as he goes bold, but 5 seconds, Demo. Doesn't quite get the net that they want. Goes in close with a shotgun and Stompin. Had to win, must win, won.
Oh, that was tight from G2. But a great kind of recaliber of what they want to do in that 3v3. Really had to play off the cusp of, I'm sure, some really good shot calling there from Alamau. You look at their position. You had Stompin on the verts, on the hatch. He can smoke off the head holes inside a kitchen. That then allows Alamau to push in through the yellow stairs door. Has 2 options. One, does he try and go for the plant? No. He's going to be smoked off. That's not going to work. The second option is push deep alongside Doki, who is pushed in from Spiral, unchecked, unmarked. Nobody has came near him. And then you double up on the guy inside of security. You get that pick, and then now you can try and go for that replant. Really good decision making there from Alamau to run deep and assist his teammate.
I mean, from where that round started to where it ended, again, you have to give credit to WYLDE to having the fight. There's still some decisions, right? You look at the tapestry that was sewn on that round. The decision to have the start of all of that round and having the Vigil and having the Caveira go for 2 different peaks or 2 different doors. It went how it went. At the same time, the sneak up the top, Stompin getting a kill there, it went how it went, and that's harder to predict. But then the decision to try and go for this big, bold rotate round the back, it's sort of in the same echelon of this is a crazy decision, but it works. Or it works sometimes, or it works half the time, or it has some chance at working against a team like G2. You've got to make plays like that. You've got to make Doki say what in all chat. Still don't really know. Still don't really know what that's about. Yeah. Seems like they've pulled themselves a little bit closer. That's their chest, and they slip and slink their way in towards Visa. A quick bit of control and maybe some attention down below. Just giving themselves options.
Yeah, I think they should maybe try and go for the pinch. I mean, you've got the information on the castle downstairs, obviously Loira providing that. So I would say that there is an option if they want to try and go for the rumors that they can. Of course, this setup here from Wild is going to try and deny access over towards the admin side. And see, that castle barricade was there as an ease of access up the visa stairs if you rotate in through lobby. But G2 have dealt with that very efficiently. That Deimos is putting in good work just to bat back some of these defenders, and again gives himself maybe an option, but no, that castle barricade's there just to stop him. Oh, sees him cross. Should be a kill. No, misses with the pistol. That's not too often you see Laura miss an opportunity like that.
No, should be a kill. Wasn't. And that's sort of the whole statement. Sneak gets another Stompin. Knocked off, and Matt finds Doki. Wild striking. Hard and fast. At this point, Alamau and Blaz. What do you do? What do you talk about? What's gone wrong? So 5 versus 2 is still far from catching up, but you've got an option to try and, you know, weigh some things up. Blaz, all alone. They know where he is, and they're not entirely throwing themselves into this. They're building, restructuring. They know he has a pretty tough divide to cross on vending, and they're gonna just lock off Coffin. Why not? Force him somewhere else. In between an angle where he has to push onto multiple different fronts, they tuck back. Playing this coy, clever, and cautiously, Demo.
Coy, did you say? They're not in the league. Long gone.
Yeah.
Oops. Yeah, I think there for G2. Obviously, Loira missing out on that kill. And what wasn't to be. That was round that wasn't to be. If Loira's missing shot like that, yeah, not winning it. Wild didn't sit back this time. They took the fight to G2. They actually swung them. They actually won engagements. That's great to build confidence, which is something that this team needs right now, is a bit of confidence against G2, who, as we know, was flying high. They'll swing anything that they want to. I mean, it was obviously a classic admin take coming in from G2, but you lose bodies, you then go down in the man deficit, you lose an util. Fairly simple then from Wild to stabilize themselves, play off the team play that they have, actually trading kills out, which I think is important to note. Even though they didn't even have to trade a kill, nobody died, but you could see the positionings off them. Whenever they were swinging, there was 2 guys swinging at the same time.
It's that sort of malleability, I think, that you always need in this game, regardless, but the sort of idea of nothing is set in stone. No plan survives contact with your opposing team, especially if they're a team like G2. And the positioning of being able to get yourself on towards these 2-body problems, these 2-body solutions, a very vital aspect of beating a team like this. Another sort of Solace pick. And this is, I know I sort of, when you probed me for a question, I said, there's a Solace. In a panic. But she's great on this map because of how foxy it is in some manners. It used to be the classic of why Pulse was always played on this map, is you just get a full read of an approach. You can see they're going for the same thing here as Boomsy's expecting the approach from the Visa side and sort of leaning into it. It's big pressure on top yellow. They've got the chance to shield drop behind Alamau, which feels like what they want to do is get in, get control of the box bit above the site itself, and then sort of force them further and further out. This will dampen the day of the player. Ooh, just not out the window. That's C4. The air jab will push them down, and they're not going to take another step. They expected them low, but Doki went high and almost went for a second. There's that shield on yellow. I talked about the push and the drive, and they're just going to peel away for now, Demo.
Yeah, G2 slowing the pace down. You know, bringing in that Monty shows you what the ideology is, where they want to take things slow. They've seen that little bit of aggression in the last round coming in from Wild. What's the best way to play against that? Bring in that Monty. And yeah, they've cleared away yellow. They've got that first pick. They can now start doing the vertical work. This is leading up to be a pretty classic piano take. So now it's down to how well the retake is from Wild. Whenever I say retake, it's getting up the stairs, fighting these guys upstairs. Don't allow them to just sit on the vertical and make life absolute misery for you. But a lot easier said than done whenever you are up against a Nomad, for example, which does disable that. Almost threaded the needle there. Stomping on that DMR can hit like an absolute truck, but honestly, I think a plant could honestly burn around for G2. They've nothing to worry about.
That was cruel. It's like they were like, don't worry, I'll cover you. I'll lay down some covering fire as you escape. Oh no, Stompin's just shot me instead. Great sacrifice, but they escape. Will it be worth the trade?
Oh, what a pick. He sees the Solus below.
Knows where he is, and they now know at most there's 2 people on the site. The risk here is the hop-up plant places while they're on the other side. So you've got to go with this bit of solid and hope that they can't have a response to it. They don't. There's Stompin picking up maps. Boomsy is trying to rotate his way back round, but too little, really too late. Solus could tell you what you're doing, and then G2 just did it anyway.
Great execute. G2 did not miss a beat. Everything under control. Great spot there from the guy downstairs. So then that tells Alamau to go and plant on a hard surface so he doesn't get killed. Just great pacing overall from G2. Controlled that round from start to finish. The Monty helps out massively in that department. And just no real response there from Wild. Again, the retake just wasn't on for them. They probably should have had at least 2 or 3 people push up in towards Visa and then go up the stairs and then just try and fight as best you can on those players upstairs. But G2 at the moment, they're playing really well. There's basic fundamentals that are being done, you know, to a great standard here from G2. Drone work in abundance, great information. Yeah, can't fault them.
Well, from this point onwards, they've obviously just got to nudge this one over the edge here. The fact that Falcons have been able to double down their points is something that G2 want to keep up pace with. Especially when I guess everybody else generally hasn't been able to do the same. We've had a lot of flipped results from today versus yesterday. We've had a lot of teams that pulled points, not quite be able to do the same thing. Obviously, Wild, they pulled a point, but keeping themselves out of the bottom 4 is probably the main thing that they would have liked to have done from this day, and the main thing that seems like won't be done at this point. Obviously, as I said, G2, they almost need to just peel things back a bit. They've had these rounds, they've been able to get a couple of opening kills, and then suddenly things start to drift away. Suddenly Wild are punishing them in strange and unusual ways and places. And Wild, the team that was only 2 points away from being in the playoffs last time, just knows how vital it is. Every point matters. They'll do everything within their power to pull themselves back towards it here. Take towards the top, steady approach. Where will they go from this point onwards? As I said before, G2, they're confident with their approaches here. This was a site that they were able to net themselves a result and a reward on. But think about what was played last time here from Wild. They had the Caveira, doubled down with a spawn peeking attempt from Vigil. None of that anymore, don't we?
Wall should be opened up with little issues. See G2 in the bans, obviously the Cade and also the Mute, so 2 of the wall denial operators. Bandit being the other one, but risky going for that. So yeah, wall opened up.
Oh.
However, 2 kills out of nowhere. The back take has not worked. Tried to walk their way down. Secret, Loira, and Doki have been dealt with. And now G2, similar to kind of how this round kind of reverse played out, because last time they were up 5-3, now they're down 3-5. This is a tough one for G2 now. They have to try and work their way through, and with only breaching charges as their only form of self-destruction, that can be difficult. Never mind, I just clocked it. He has a shotgun on the Thermite. Never mind. They've got plenty of vertical. Why he's got the shotgun? Questions will be asked. He's dry swinging with a pistol.
Reloading.
You know, he's run the numbers, and maybe they do math differently in America.
The education system will not speak upon.
Blast in the meantime.
Plenty of talent to come back to that. You know, plenty of talent who has showed us the education system over there.
Yeah. I've seen them try and count. Blaz has rotated his way around. He was obviously on the other side of the breach, but instead the push is coming here from this side a bit flat. More than enough time. You assume Evan is trying to get those echo drones in towards a lean in. Oh, he's just gone for it.
Oh my.
Well, there's one on the backstab. There's 2. There's almost 3. Just misses the player behind him. There's somebody making the rotate. He's pushed on and he looked away at the worst time. Boomsy gets the quad. Alamau now. All that's left as he go low. Oh no! Boomsy goes high. An ace.
Oh, what a cluster at the end. My, oh my, the ace drops the hatch, finds two. Somehow takes the entire magazine, it felt like, from the Vector. But what can you say? I mean, an ace. And the thing is as well with Boomsy there, back up against the wall. Basically, like, apart from the first two, the other three were just, he had to sit in the one position and got 3 kills from it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they didn't have options, right? As you sort of said, they didn't have the soft breach capabilities apart from a thermite shotgun, but Stompin had other ideas, which was breach, breach, breach. And at this point, you know, an ace is nothing you can build a whole round about, but think about, he got the opening 2 kills. Boomsy set the pace. He had the intro, then he got the immediate follow through with the pressure on towards Secret. And at that point, G2, they just sort of tried to cut a path that was not as clear as they would have liked. So, conversation, cool things down a bit. Let's go a bit classic. This as well. Imagine if he'd gotten 3 there.
That would have been a great clip as well. 3 in the 1 mag. But, hey, Wild, still in it. To win it. For G2. With basement gone now. Which has been a little bit hit or miss. You know, even the round that they did win basement, it wasn't like, you know, picturesque, perfect round that they had. Certainly for the top floor, this is a round where Wild, I'm pretty sure it was a flawless round that they had up here. And they went aggressive here. They swung, they swung, they swung. I think for G2, they will more than likely change their approach to it. They're not going to allow the flexibility of you know, just having the players constantly aggress onto you. That's where the Monty again comes into play. Having that shield operator to slow things down and give out that information to the rest of the team. Depends what side they want to go for, because traditionally, if you're taking the Monty, you go yellow side, because yellow's a lot more easier to manage, less angles to watch for the shield. Oh my!
Such an awkward fight. No, we can't do that fight. That was interesting. That was less interesting. For Doki, twice in a row, Doki has just been absolutely pasted by Boomsy, playing just on that entrance, trying to get their way in. 6-4 now, after the timeout, after the conversation. Boomsy wanted to start with the pace and did. But now G2, they're going to try and keep the pace up behind it as well. Put the pressure. The entrance with the shield. Get some coverage here for the Glass to try and get some swing pressure on towards anybody that's holding on. The Bees over the top as well. They're inside the box demo. And there goes the header, Matt.
What a shot.
Predicted, drifted, knocked out Boomsy. Still just perpetually causing problems here for G2. It's back and forth, flashes themselves. Sneak gets one more. There's
a leg.
No. No. What is going on?
I have no words. I mean, it had to be a yellow take. That was obvious. You know, based on the operator lineup from G2. Again, that aggression, the Monty did diddly squat, essentially. Like, what did it do? Didn't stop any aggression. You look at where Boomsy was swinging from. Killed the guy, killed the Glass as well. Killed the very important operator from Spiral Window onto top yellow. I mean, G2 have let it slip.
Over 2 rounds, Boomsy's got, what, 8 kills?
He had the ace and then, yeah.
This. Being cool. I know where you are. That was clean. That was very clean. This, I mean, it's a frustrating way to go. Again, it's a team that was 2 points shy of being in playoffs last time. It's a team that knows how precious every single point is. And it's a team, let's be honest, on these opening 2 play days that people didn't expect to take points from the two teams they're up against. Virtus Pro into G2 as your opening 2 play days for any team is a rough introduction.
Yeah, obviously you look at the last stage, they started off not great. I think was the first 3 games they didn't have a single point, something like that. I could be wrong on that, but it was, you know, pretty bad.
Well,
of course they were always going to get there, and now we're starting to see that. However, the man of the hour is gone.
yeah. How do they operate without the person who's got 8 kills over the past 2 rounds? With Blaz getting that opener. Blaz, to be fair, you know, he's been keeping the pace. It's not that actually the kill game is so far away from them. At the start of the previous round, I think generically they were more on the positive. Doki gets Evan. There's Matt's getting Stompin right back. C4 is a bit premature. Expected somebody else to follow through, but they didn't. Pressure onto Fenrir as they're generically safe in their position. They can see the pressures coming from the side of Visa, but it's not the Loira fight you want. It's the expectation. They're leading other people to the treasure of having your name second in the kill feed in the top right. In on the top. Some rested control here above the site itself. Now, what do WYLDE do? Do they try and just peel back, repel you flat? Do they go for a potential retake? Do they hope that they can win the next engagement and suddenly things are leveled up? They've lost their smoke. They've lost their ability to delay and sort of deny from range. They have to be forthcoming with the fight, and as Sneak takes a narrow opportunity there and actually steps back in before the E1D pops out. It's Doki. Gets Matt. Locked in, realized the fight needed to be, and that leaves just Garen and Sneak left alive, and one of them is openly and eagerly tracked by a Deimos, hungry from above. The other blinded, battered, bashed, and knocked around. Leaves just Sneak left, slip their way round, does get the head of Blaz, has to just keep on running though, as the pressure is unending, relentless, and brutal from G2. They do enough, but boy did WYLDE make them work for it.